Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be ranking the bard subclasses. Um,
Hello.
in the last couple episodes, if you missed them, we ranked the artificer and barbarian subclasses. Feel free to go and watch those to find out why we put things where we did. Um, in any case, we're starting off here with the College of Creation bard. Um, Bards believe the cosmos is a work of art, the creation of the first dragons and gods. That creative work included harmonies that continue to resound through existence today, a power known as the Song of Creation. The bards of the College of Creation can draw on that primeval song through dance, music, and poetry, and their teachers share this lesson. For the sun and the moon there was the song, and its music awoke the first dawn. Its melodies so delighted the stones and trees that some of them gained a voice of their own. And now they sing too. Learn the song, students, and you too can teach the mountains to sing and dance. Dwarves and gnomes often encourage their bards to become students of the Song of Creation. Amongst Dragonborn, the Song of Creation is revered, for legends portray Bahamut and Tiamat, the greatest of dragons, as two of the song's first singers. Jeez Louise, that is a lore-packed description.
It's a pretty cool description, though.
Um,
Unlike the way I view the class, which is if you have a high enough deception score, you can just trick the universe into believing you that things exist.
it's pretty good, though. You can actually make things.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not, like...
That's where you trick the universe into thinking that your nonsense is real. Then it's like, oh yeah, I guess it is.
It's pretty good, though. I don't know.
Yeah, the subclass is pretty good.
It's weird,
Cool.
because I feel like if you just... if you see it, like, as it's written, it's perhaps a little underwhelming, or maybe not. Maybe you see it and you're like, oh, actually, this seems really good. In which case, good on you.
I see. It's pretty good.
Well, I mean,
What are you referring to?
I'm referring to if you picked this over, like, the default bard option TM of just going, like, lore bard. Like, you might not immediately see the benefits of this class. At least I would think so. But yeah, if you are high enough level in this class, you can make some funny things. And making funny things is fun.
Like lava.
Or guns.
No. No. I thought when I was saying lava, I was going to be ridiculous. And then you said guns. Okay.
Well, I mean, it kind of depends on what kind of campaign you're playing in, I suppose. You might not...
You ain't playing in one where you use your third level feature to make a gun and your DM says yes. That's not a real campaign.
You can do it once you're high enough level. I mean, raw at least.
No.
But if you're not in a campaign that your DM uses guns in, because, they don't always, be reasonable to say no. There is the only reason I bring it up is because there's a funny, there's a funny thing you can do at 14th level is this class where you can make a lot of guns. It's very broken and very, very cool. But yeah, I wouldn't put that as your default use of this class or its features. Look, I'm not trying to make a bunch of people who want to like
trying to ruin the world.
I am not attempting to ruin the world. I'm merely
No.
suggesting that if people
That
wanted to
if
ruin the
someone
world,
wanted to ruin the
they could.
world,
Exactly, exactly. Um,
someone wanted to not be friends with their DM anymore.
but yeah,
Just be a quick bounty,
obviously there's a lot
don't
of
do it.
backstory flavor to this
That's really cool.
that's very cool. You can do cool stuff with this. Honestly, I just think this is a really like I mean, most bard subclasses are, so forgive me for saying this, and if I'm gonna say it a bunch of times, but I think it's a really like fun roleplay class because you can just like make a little thing, and it's like, hey, party, I made this funny little thing, and they're like, wow, that's cool,
Hmm.
and you know that's just something people like to do sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like,
It's a pretty cool class. It does some cool stuff. Even just the motive potential does some fun stuff. Just
yeah, it
sticks
gives
it
you like a
in.
buff
Good.
bardic essentially. It's pretty cool.
I don't know. I think this class is pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
cool.
solid.
I'd put him an A.
Yeah, I don't think unless you're deliberately trying to break the game. I don't think this class is over the top, but they're very good. I also would put them in A. Very very solid bard subclass. I don't know if just on its own, based on features, there's, for me at least, going to be an S rank bard subclass, but you might disagree.
I don't know. We'll have to get there and find out together.
Fair enough. Our second bard subclass, the Eloquence bard. This excerpt is much less long.
Yeah.
Thank
It is
goodness.
significantly less long.
Adherents to the College of Eloquence master the art of oratory. Persuasion is regarded as a high art, and well-reasoned, well-spoken arguments often prove more persuasive than facts. These bards wield a blend of logic and theatrical wordplay, winning over skeptics and detractors with logical arguments and plucking at heartstrings to appeal to the emotions of audiences. Wait, actually, I lied. I forgot this subclass was in the game. No, I didn't. Well, okay, look, if there's gonna be an S rank bard class, it's probably this one.
What? This is gonna be an F rank bard subclass.
F
It's
rank.
gonna be this.
F rank? What? You don't believe that? What the heck? Are you serious?
This one's lame.
Yeah. What? Huh?
It doesn't have like any flavor in it.
It doesn't have to have flavor to be mechanically insane.
Yeah, but it's no fun.
It's. Hold on. I don't
It's like if
believe that
you-
it's no fun.
It's like, what if you rolled up to D&D and you were like, I don't really want to roll dice.
Yeah, you roll up to D&D and you're just like, I
I
want to be
don't
the
really-
good bard.
I don't
My-
really want to roll dice or role play or have a character. I just
Yeah,
wanna,
my character
like,
is that I'm a bard and I'm good at being a bard. I don't.
That's lore bard.
No, lore bard is slightly more interesting.
Yeah.
This is just
Every
I
other
do
bard
bard things well.
interesting. No.
It is.
Lame.
It's so good. Like this class is just so solid.
And there's
You
nothing.
never fail your persuasion or deception checks,
Ugh.
which does take some of the fun out of the game, but is undoubtedly a very good feature. And not just that, but you can use a bardic inspiration to lower saving throws of enemies as a bard.
This is the subclass of the person who writes in their backstory that they're hot.
You're right, but They're hot. Like, what are you gonna do about it? Be mad that they're hot? Like, you can't be
It's
mad that they're
also the
hot.
person that goes, I want to tell that guy to to do to to let me pass or do this thing for me, and your DM goes, yeah, sure, role play it out, go up, ask him, and then they go,
I rolled a
hey,
30 on my persuasion check.
do this thing. Can I roll a persuasion check? I want you to do this. Can I roll a persuasion check?
Yeah, of course they're gonna do that because that's a part of their character features.
I'm just saying, if you're allergic to roleplay and rolling dice,
Look, okay, yes, sure,
just play a different game.
I can understand where you think an Eloquence Bard player would be annoying, and they are, because these are the types of people who are like, unsettling words, hypnotic pattern, I win the fight. But, like, undoubtedly, they're just very solid. They could get, like, if a dude uses an inspiration die on an ability check, or an attack roll, or a saving throw, and it still doesn't work, they get to keep the Bardic. Very good. Like, I don't know. You can just talk to anyone, regardless of language. You can inspire multiple people at once. It's just solid. It's mechanically very good. Like, I don't know.
Good is a subjective word.
Oh my gosh. I don't think mechanically strong is subjective. Unless you're in a campaign to where your DM doesn't let you do, like,
But
any ability checks because they know you're playing an Eloquence Bard and they hate you.
Mechanically good is subjective.
Alright, mechanically effective?
Saying is it good for the game?
Oh my gosh. Either way, like, Eloquence Bard's very strong. Like, it's at least an A tier, but
Ugh.
I would probably put it in S for as far as Bard subclasses go.
The worst subclass.
There's worse. We haven't gotten to them yet, but there's worse.
Remind me later.
Alright.
I'll disagree.
Well, I don't know if there's a worse Bard one, but
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
Oh,
the College of Glamour Bard. The College of Glamour is the home of bards who mastered their craft in the vibrant realm of the Feywild or under the tutelage of someone who dwelled there. Tutored by satyrs, Eladrin, and other Fey, these bards learn to use their magic to delight and captivate others. The bards of this college are regarded with a mixture of awe and fear. Their performances are the stuff of legend. These bards are so eloquent that a speech or song that one of them performs can cause captors to release the bard unharmed and can lull a furious dragon into complacency. Same magic that allows them to quell beasts can also bend minds. Villainous bards of this college can leech off a community for weeks, misusing their magic to turn their hosts into thralls. Heroic bards of this college instead use this power to gladden the downtrodden and undermine oppressors.
see, this subclass is cool. It's like the same energy, but it's like actually has interesting mechanics.
Yeah, but now you actually get to play the game.
Yeah. There's that like fear and intrigue in it. This idea that you can charm people with performances without them knowing necessarily, which is sort of shrouded in that idea of using the power of the voice to exert will over people, which is like sort of maybe kind of suspicious, maybe not a good thing to do, but you know, maybe it depends on how you use it. It's cool.
Yeah. It's definitely got a lot of role-playing potential. Mantle of Inspiration can be solid if you have a team that isn't using their reactions too much and has a lot of martials, which admittedly isn't going to be super often that that's the case, but it happens. And if it happens, it's free movement.
Cast command as a bonus action. What do you mean? You can just tell people to.
Yeah, but they have to use their reaction to move. So
yeah, but you just use it on enemies.
Oh, you can use it on it.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be used for.
But you give them temp HP as well. Yeah, Mantle of Inspiration?
You cloak yourself with Fey Magic as a bonus action, you cast Command.
Are you not looking at Mantle of Inspiration?
Yeah, that's Mantle of the 6th level feature?
It's the 3rd level feature. 6th level is Mantle of Majesty.
Mantle of Majesty. My bad.
Yeah. Mantle of Majesty is you cast command.
Oh, my bad. I was very confused. Yes.
Yeah, being able to cast command as a bonus action every turn is really good.
That's why I was very confused by what you were saying, but that makes sense. Also, Mantle of Inspiration is good if you have casters and ranged characters too, because if someone gets to them.
Yeah, I guess it's good for rangers because they don't provoke opportunity attacks. Yeah, and they're less likely to use their reactions than marshals are, so.
Sorcerers and wizards don't like to be in melee. They're very sad if they're in melee.
Yeah, that's true.
So if you can move them away.
No, I mean it's definitely just solid.
I feel like it's better used for that. But a marshal is happy to move twice in a turn for free if they aren't next to someone.
Yeah, that's true. Now it's always good for someone with a bow. I just hadn't thought correctly when using my brain is all.
Yeah, I don't know. It's good.
Yeah, it's solid. And not to mention, it's just a bit of temp HP. Like, even if people don't move, you're just giving everyone some temp HP. It's pretty good.
I want to say B. But...
yeah, maybe. A lot of this is a bit... Like, it's weird, because I think Glamour bards are, like, the strongest bards in roleplay. Like, I think if you're just around town and you don't necessarily mind being a bastard to, like, random townsfolk, this is, like, a super, super powerful class. It's probably among the most powerful in the game, if I had to rate. Which...
Yeah, but it's like, you're not gonna control a town of people with no repercussions for an extended period of time.
Yeah, it's unlikely, but if you wanted to do that, this is probably your best bet of doing that.
Yeah, but... as you get higher level, like, that's not that useful.
And it's not bad in combat. It's a little less powerful just mechanically than Eloquence, and sometimes Creation, just, because Eloquence is broken and Creation is sometimes broken, I guess. But I don't know. There's a lot you can do. I'm like tempted to just be like every bard subclass is an A tier.
I don't think this bard subclass is as cool as Creation Bard.
Yeah, that's fair. It's a little less open about the things that you can do. Like, the thing that you're doing, you do pretty well. But you can't just, like, make whatever you want, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think B's good. It's just, like, a little less freedom in RP than Creation, and a little less, like, mechanically powerful than Eloquence, I think. but still pretty good. I don't think you're doing yourself a wrong by being a glamour bard. All right, next line of text. Here we go. Try not to lose your voice challenge. Impossible. Bards of the College of Lore know something about most things, collecting bits of knowledge from sources as diverse as scholarly tomes and peasant tales, whether singing folk ballads in tavern or elaborate compositions in royal courts. These bards use their gifts to hold audiences spellbound. When the applause dies down, the audience members might find themselves questioning everything they held to be true, from their faith in the priesthood, the local temple, to their loyalty to the king. The loyalty of these bards lies in the pursuit of beauty and truth, not in fealty to a monarch or following the tenets of a deity. A noble who keeps such a bard as a herald or advisor knows that the bard would rather be honest than politic. The college's members gather in libraries and sometimes in actual colleges, complete with classrooms and dormitories to share their lore with one another. They also meet at festivals or affairs of state where they can expose corruption, unravel lies, and poke fun at self-important figures of authority. Whew. Anyway, just from a background perspective, I think there's a reason that Lore and Valor are the default bard classes, because you can literally just make, like, any, like, cool adventurer character out of this.
Yeah. I like Lore. It is kind of a very empty shell kind of thing. It's just like good. There's a lot you can do with it. You can be good at whatever you want to. There's a lot of cool builds just from getting an additional magical secret. But there's not that there's not that much more there, but there's a lot you could do with it.
Yeah. It's pretty good. And not that this is a thing yet, but I'm fairly certain in the updated rule set for lore bards, it allows you to swap some of your spells that you learn with magical secrets as well. Which is nice. Because, I mean, generally, when you learn 2 spells at 6th level, right, they're going to be 2 spells you can cast. But later on, you're like, oh, maybe I'll want some other spells, which, you know, to be fair, at 10th level you also get some, but
yeah,
14th. You get them quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
But, nonetheless, being able to swap them out is nice. Eventually, which is not a thing. As is, though, it's pretty good. Cutting words is solid as well.
Cutting words is good.
It's, you know, it's aight. It's probably going to be more useful than just using your bardic inspiration anyway, because by default it doesn't really do that much. Technically, with Tasha's, your bardics do a little bit more, so playing with Tasha's rules, they're pretty good.
No one's not playing with Tasha's rules, okay?
Alright, look, almost everyone is playing with Tasha's rules, but, you know, everyone has different tables, and maybe they're sitting at a table that doesn't play with them.
Or maybe they're sitting at a table where the DM goes, yeah, sure, you can create 17 machine guns with your creation bar.
It's not machine guns, it's like photon cannons or something.
Uh-huh.
I don't remember what they're called. They're like a tiny... They're like a laser gun thing, whatever. Anyway. Yeah, these are just solid. If you don't know what to do and you want to play a bard, you should just play a lore bard.
There's a lot of fun stuff you can do with a lore bard.
Yeah, they're full spellcasters. You can essentially just take spells from any list, so you don't have to... Like, if you're a new player, I actually think that's a benefit at some points, because it can be kind of confusing to be like, oh, what's on my list? I mean, I guess you can't technically do that right off the bat. You have to know when you can take it, but I digress.
You're sort of a shell. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of flavor in the class.
Yeah, you could take
It does give
paladin
you a lot
spells
of
and like ranger
gives you a
spells
lot
too,
of options to
which is cool.
add in your own flavor. So I don't know.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd put
You get a lot of skill proficiencies too. Um. It's you at 14th level you can use bardic inspiration. Um. The way that you're probably already using it but not supposed to, which is a little disappointing, but you know. Hell yeah, bardic
no,
inspiration.
no. Uh, the level 14 feature lets you use Bardic Inspiration on yourself.
Oh, that's right. Right, because you can only use it on allies.
You cannot, yeah, you can't use Bardic Inspiration on yourself.
So it can't
Or
even let you do it the way that I thought. You can't use it on someone after they make an ability check.
no.
Which
This just is just the rules of Bardic Inspiration reiterated, but you can use it
yeah,
on yourself.
but yeah, this
Although this let on you can use it on yourself. Right? It's like you're always sort of inspired. You just get to choose when you use it. You do have to do it before the DM says whether it succeeds or
yeah,
fails,
it's
but you
not
can
bad,
do
and
it
by this point you have a
after
high
you roll.
you have a high bardic dice. You have a lot of proficiencies. You're probably gonna be good at doing skill checks. I think this was changed a bit in the new version as well. It's not bad,
New
but
version. Oh my.
it's okay.
That's non-canon.
It's gonna be canon. Look, by the time we're done with these videos, the new version's gonna be out.
Yeah, but the rules aren't even final yet. They could change dramatically.
Yeah, but if they change the thing that I said would change, even if it's different from what I think it is, then I'm still gonna be right.
I don't know what you just said.
Exactly. Any case, lore's solid. I don't know. It's good. I'll put it in B, I think.
Yeah.
It's like you're not really doing yourself any harm by picking it up. It's just kind of good. Spirits Bard is next. You want to read this one? Do you have this?
Me? You want me to read this?
Yeah.
I could. I don't know where this. Oh, here it is.
It's Ravenloft.
Yeah. Bards of the College of Spirits seek tales with inherent power, be they legends, histories, or fictions, and bring their subjects to life using occult trappings. These bards conjure spiritual embodiments of powerful forces to change the world once more. Such spirits are I don't know, capricious? I don't know how to say that word. Though, and what a bard summons isn't always entirely under their control.
Yeah, so like it's Orochimaru, basically.
What? Yeah, totally.
I'm just saying. You know, he looks for
It's
legends, brings them back to life.
Yeah, I mean,
They're
he
not
does do that.
necessarily always under his control.
This subclass is kind of nonsense, unnecessarily complicated.
Yeah.
I have a player in my game that's playing this, and he has been playing this for a long time, and I still have no idea what this class does. I just
Yeah.
trust that he does things right because I'm like, I can't be I have no idea what you're doing.
Um yeah. Basically, uh you get a tarot deck a crystal ball, a candle, a skull, or like a Ouija board. And you use that to focus spiritual energy is essentially the gist.
Okay.
You get guidance, and it has a range of 60 feet, which honestly is way better than it sounds. Unless it sounds good to you, in which case it's very good, and you would be correct.
Eh.
Um, I wouldn't say at all. I think if you're a class that can take guidance as a cantrip, you should just take it. I don't know why you wouldn't be like, oh, I'll guidance my guy doing a skill check, like, whenever you can.
Because you don't want to bother your DM every 1 second.
I don't
You don't
mind
want
doing
to...
that, though, because I hate my DM, so it's all good.
I'm just saying, guidance is good, but you know, when you play with people with guidance, every time anyone does anything, your DM is just like in the middle of a thing. They're like, I'm gonna need you to roll this to do this, and then 6 people scream at the top of their lung, I'm gonna cast guidance on them. I mean, that's sort of irrelevant, but you know.
Yeah. So, essentially, you can draw a tale, or learn a tale, I guess, from the spirits beyond. They tell you a thing on a table. I'll probably put it up on the video during editing. Essentially, you can do one of these things with a card, or I guess a tarot, not a tarot, or like a crystal ball or something. I don't know. It doesn't necessarily matter what you're doing it with, but you get a tale, and you can use the tale on a person as an action as long as they're within 30 feet. So you could just do one of these things. You can only have one at a time, but if you use it, you can get another one equal to your bardic inspiration, because it uses your bardic inspiration. Yeah. There you go. If you bestow a certain effect from this, you can't use it again. Unless you take a short rest or long rest. Or
The tarot deck thing is cool.
yeah.
The level 6 feature is cool. It's got a lot of flavor into it. You can like conduct rituals with your party or with other people to cast powerful spells that you don't have access to. But it's so complicated. There's so many like moving parts and like tables and like things you could do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's like too much. It's too unfocused and too.
I mean, it's essentially like getting magical secrets early, because you get a spell from any class if you do a ritual.
Yeah. Kinda. It has to be divination or necromancy. It's cool. The player in my game's done a lot of cool stuff with spirit sessions. It's a lot of fun to do, especially if your party's into it and into the flavor of it.
Yeah.
But
It's pretty good, I think.
it's pretty decent, yeah.
It's a little complicated though. And I mean, it kinda, how good this class winds up being sort of depends on, like, I guess your luck. You could just draw bad cards.
The cards are not all work. It's a lot of complicated nonsense. It's a lot of action economy to get a card and use a card.
And you have to use one to get another one, so you can't just
Yeah.
continuously redraw.
So, and some of the cards are good,
Yeah.
and some of the cards aren't.
Yeah.
So I think most of the time it's like not even worth it. But it could be. Yeah, I don't know. Most of the time I see it used doesn't really do much. A lot of the times the player in my game spends his turn drawing a card and then just never uses it. And occasionally it's something that's very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth doing as a bonus action. Like, to draw a card. You might as well use it over Bardic Inspiration, unless you're doing skill checks. By default,
Yeah.
anyway.
It's
okay.
an action to give the card, which is a big ask, especially as you get to higher level.
But also, the ritual, like, you gotta have an amount of people to, like, get the level of spell you want. And it has to be, like,
Yeah,
in 2
that's
classes. Cool. It's cool flavor, but it does kind of get in the way.
Yeah.
So, it's alright.
I
feel like...
I kind of want to put it in B because it's got a lot of flavor, but I kind of want to put it in C because I feel like it's too clunky.
I kind of want to put it in C. Like,
yeah.
I think it's cool. I don't even think it's bad. But, like, Glamour and Lore are easily just as good, if not better, in the sense that you can just pick it and be a good character, and Spirits kind of take some finagling.
Yeah, Spirits is... I think it makes sense being next to Alchemist and Stormherald. It's sort of this really cool idea, but it's not... It's a little clunky and doesn't quite... The mechanics don't quite get there, I think, with the fantasy.
Yeah. The next is the bard that is probably the most played bard, I would assume. Unless Lore is, I wouldn't be that surprised if Lore was, but
you know.
You want to read it?
Sure. Bards of the College of Swords are called blades. They entertain through daring feats of weapon prowess. Blades perform stunts such as sword swallowing, knife throwing, and juggling, and mock combats. Though they use their weapons to entertain, they are also highly trained and skilled warriors in their own right. Their talent with weapons inspires many blades to lead double lives. One blade might use a circus trope as a cover for nefarious deeds such as assassinations, robbery, and blackmail. Other blades strike at the wicked, bringing justice to bear against the cruel and powerful. Most troops are happy to accept Blade's talent for the excitement it adds to a performance, but few entertainers fully trust a Blade in their ranks. Blades who abandon their lives as entertainers have often run into trouble that makes maintaining their secret activities impossible. A blade caught stealing or engaging in vigilante justice is too great a liability for most troops. While their weapon skills and magic With their weapon skills and magic, these blades either take up work as enforcers for Thieves Guild or strike out on their own as adventurers.
Yeah, you know, it's a very solid character basis. It's always nice, I think, to have a backstory of a character. Well, not a backstory of a character, but like the basis of your subclass as something that could feasibly be the backstory of an adventurer, as opposed to something that's like you're a chosen like god of like some deep sea creature and you're like, all right, why am I at a random tavern meeting up with a bunch of people? So it's useful, if nothing else. I think a lot of people like to be like clowns.
You know what? People do like to be clowns, and I don't understand. But, you know, to each their own, I guess.
Yeah, this is a bard class. It sure is. Um, it's pretty
It's
good.
it's pretty good. It's got a lot of stuff going on. It's pretty fun and interesting. Um, I would say the biggest. It's got some cool stuff. It's a good way to be a marshal, especially like a dex marshal. You have a lot of as a bard. Um, what I found in seeing people play is that a lot of people take this as the blade flourishes are a cool part of the class to lean into, which I think is true. But the blade flourishes tend to suck.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, they're really inconsistent.
slashing flourish can be very good.
They
Uh,
all can be very good.
but yeah, I mean, defensive flourish is sometimes good. Mobile flourish is rarely good, but it's not.
Yeah, I
It,
mean,
it, it
it's just
comes in handy
the biggest
sometimes.
problem with the flourishes is if you roll a 12, they're all really good. If you roll a 1, all of them suck really hard.
Yeah.
And it ends up just being you wasting your break inspirations on something that isn't as good.
Yeah. It's
Most of the time.
I don't know, it's okay.
But I think even if you don't use the flourishes at all, I think it's still a pretty good class.
It's still solid. Most of the time you're probably going to be like a fencer type of character when you're playing this character. Um cuz two-weapon fighting is just a little inconsistent. I mean, you can do it anyway. Take the like two-weapon
Two-weapon
fighter
fighting
feat,
is cool,
but yeah.
which is the other problem with this class is you can go one-handed good, or you can go two-weapon fighting. Two-weapon fighting is pretty decent, but the problem with it mostly is that two-weapon fighting forces you into having to use your bonus action, and
Yeah,
bards like to use their bonus actions
they
already.
do. They use their bonus actions
So,
on healing words and bardic inspirations, which is very solid.
yeah,
Not to
so
mention, later on, two-weapon fighting doesn't scale super well. There's kind of just a problem with the mechanic in the game, just because multi-attack doesn't affect your second weapon.
yeah, but it's
Um,
still an extra attack,
it
especially if
it is. It's not
especially if you
unviable,
have fighting
because
style.
most of the time in D&D, the game isn't like that hard. Right? There's not usually gonna be something in the game. I mean, look, I like as a DM, obviously I can make something to where this isn't the case, but in most like pre-written modules, there's not going to be anything in the game to where a party of 4 where one of the people is like a two-weapon fighting swords bard or anything for two-weapon fighting in that regard is going to be the reason that you lose.
Yeah,
So,
I just feel like the bigger issue is it's fun to make the two-weapon fighting bard, and
yeah.
it's fun to make the two-weapon fighting bard who's like, I can do all these cool blade flourish things, and then most of the time you end up going out and you end up using your blade flourishes a lot and using your two-weapon fighting a lot, and then you're like, well, I mean, it probably would just be better if I just didn't use the blade flourish. And
Yeah.
then as you get later into the game, as you get to like 6th level and higher, you start to go, well, I mean, it's not really worth me using my bonus action on an attack. I'd probably be better off inspiring someone or
Yeah. I
healing
mean,
someone. And then it just sort of feels kind of bad where it's not like your class is really bad, or it's just a matter of like you have these features that you wanted to be important, but when you start to realize that you'd be better off not doing them. You're like,
Yeah,
I
it's a
feel like
little unfortunate. Like, you can definitely make use of, like, defensive flourish, mobile flourish, you know? But, like, these are usable.
yeah.
But it's one of those things to where the best things you get, really, like, is you can cast spells using a weapon, and you could take the dueling fighting style.
Yeah, medium
Which,
armor.
yeah, and you get medium armor, but then you get to level 6, you get your extra attack, you get your Fawn of Inspiration at 5, you get your D8 Bardic Inspirations, and then you kind of just don't play a Bard. Like, usually you'll just, like, be a fighter or a paladin from here, or a rogue. Because it's just, your Blade Flourishes don't scale great, because it's essentially just one big dice that could fail.
I mean, the
And Master's
14th
Flourish,
level Master's Flourish is pretty cool. I mean, it means you can just
you could use that instead of a
use.
Bardic. By the time you're at 14th level, you'll have Bardics, and you'll want to
Yeah,
use them on
no,
yourself.
but it means that no, you can give away your bard with 14th level. What that feature really means is you don't have to use them on your blade flourishes ever, and you can use a blade flourish every turn.
Yeah, but it adds a
Which
d6
is
instead
pretty
of
good. It is a
potentially a
D6, but you can use it
d12.
every time, and the flourishes are still good if you roll a 6. Even at 14th level, if you're getting plus 6 to your AC,
Well, plus 6 to your AC is quite good.
that's
But
crazy.
plus 6 damage to a guy standing next to a guy in Slashing Flourish is pretty bad.
Nah, but
And, like, the mobile flourish thing is pretty bad, but also, like, if you roll a 6, and this is best case scenario, of course. If you roll a 6, the movement is pretty good. The damage isn't very good.
damage isn't very good. But, you know, it's something. You could use it. I mean, it's not a resource, so you can use it every turn.
Yeah,
So
but I'm just
Slashing
saying, it's
Flourish is
not
just the best thing that
that
will go
good.
above. I mean, I think that's
It's
pretty cool.
okay. It's
Yeah.
definitely
I'd say this is a C.
yeah, I think so too. It's a C class. It's solid. People like playing the swords bards. I mean, people like playing gishes, and I can understand that. I like playing gishes too. So I understand that, but it's not amazing to take solo class. One
I've
thing
been
of
tricked
note
into
though,
thinking douches are cool, and I've been reformed.
you just well, it's not a trick. You just don't like hitting things with weapons. You like playing spellcasters.
Issues are fun to build. They're just less fun to play.
Yeah, but I don't think that. Like, I like hitting things with weapons.
Legalize nuclear bombs.
But yeah, like at level 10, you get magical secrets. You can take Steel Wind Strike. It's pretty good. Usually what you do on a swords bard or
Iron Strike doesn't technically reference your weapon at all, so you could take Steel Wind Strike.
yeah, you could take it as anything, but it's just something of note that swords bards like to take.
Just Steel Wind Strike is the coolest spell in the game. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of is.
The Spirit Bard in my game has Steel Wind Strike. Because it's the coolest spell in the game.
It's understandable.
But yeah.
Yeah. Valor Bard is next.
Do you want me to read this one too?
I can read it if you don't want to.
I mean, I don't mind reading it.
Well, then go ahead.
Bards of the College of Valor, daring skalds whose tales keep alive the memory of the great heroes of the past and thereby inspire new generations of heroes. These bards gather in mead halls around great bonfires to sing the deeds of the mighty, both past and present. They travel the land to witness great events firsthand to ensure that the memory of those events doesn't pass from the world. With their songs, they inspire others to reach the same heights and accomplishments as the heroes of old.
Yeah, I mean they're fun characters to play. Play like the Viking, and you're singing like an ode to Sovereign Guard, you know. It's good.
I was holding back, but I feel like Swordsbard has a little bit more in it. It sounds a bit more exciting, I think. But most of the time, I think Valor Bard is just more what you want to do if you want to play like a Gish Bard. Like
You do
Valor
get
Bard, I
shield
think
proficiency.
Valor Bard
Nice.
just does it better. The big downside is you lose. You don't have the blade flourishes, and other than that, everything you do is better than what a sword start bard does. And the blade flourishes kind of suck. So
They're not amazing. They're pretty good when you get them, and they fall off kind of quickly. Especially as a full spellcaster, that's not really a good look, because essentially you're spending your turn walking up to someone and hitting them with a sword instead of using your 9th level bard spell. Which isn't awesome.
but you don't really make any sacrifices for Valor. It's just kind of good. It's got that cool idea of you are a storyteller bard.
Yeah,
Cool idea.
it's nice. You can get a shield and medium armor, so you can be kind of tanky. Get like
Shield
breastplate.
and medium armor is kind of sexy.
And then you could just have a focus in your offhand. You don't even have to attack people. Which, you know, you could attack people, but you don't have to.
Also, it does sort of the biggest flaw with Bar just baseline is that their cantrips suck. I mean,
Yeah,
so it sort of covers up that weakness.
that's true.
Um,
That is true. Using a weapon attack is almost always better than using a cantrip when you have extra attack. Unless your weapon is really bad. But, you know, you can just use a long sword and a shield. Or like a rapier and a shield.
this also does open you up to it. I think it sounds more interesting and like you can do more with swords, but I think you can actually do a lot more with Valor, because Valor just gives you proficiency in martial weapons, so you can be a bow bard as well.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Well,
And the other half of taking of Steelwind Strike is at 10th level you could be a bow bard and you could take Swift Quiver, and that spell is awesome.
it is. It is. It is definitely worth noting that you can take a bow as this character. And honestly, you probably should be taking a bow as this character because you are still a full caster, you are still a bard. You cannot raw cast spells if you have a shield in one hand and a weapon in the other, or are dual wielding weapons.
Yeah, unless you take Warcaster.
Unless you take Warcaster. But if you use a bow or a great like a two-handed weapon, you can cast spells. Because you can just take your hand off the weapon, cast spells. So it's good. It's nice.
Yeah. But it does open.
Bowbard's nice here. And thing is as just a martial, like being selfish, I feel like Swordsbard is slightly better. But as a bard that is a bard, I feel like Valor is better than Swords in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like
and combat inspiration's pretty nice.
you can't use it on you.
AC.
But
Yeah, you can't use it on you, but
You
Yeah.
can give it to someone and they can add it to damage or AC, which is great.
Combat inspiration is sort of like, um, cutting words. Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's the same
Potentially better than cutting
niche.
words.
Potentially worse as well.
Potentially worse.
I
Doesn't
mean,
mean someone can hold
they're
a
two
bardic,
sides of the same coin.
but I think combat inspiration is one of the best uses for inspiration. I think the bards.
Baseline, I think it might be the best use for it. I mean,
Yeah,
aside from motes of creation, which are just
modes
better.
of creation
But
are pretty good. I would say this is arguably better. Um,
yeah, it's pretty good. Level 6 you get extra attack, which isn't super exciting, but it's not.
I mean the other part of this too, you can have a bow
Yeah,
and you can have a sword. There's no reason not to,
yeah,
which makes you way more versatile. Never at a disadvantage. As long as you have dex. I mean, it's still probably better for you to be dex. But it does mean you can play a strength bard as well. There's just a lot more you can do
yeah. There's a
with
lot more avenues open to building a character.
it. Yeah. You can do, and you can start to do some cool stuff like mix it with some other class. Hexblade,
Yeah,
which is a popular way to do. But, you know,
and
I'd put this one.
you'd put this one.
I wanna say A. I feel like this one's just done really well. There's not a lot going on, but I
It's
think it's just so
good.
good and succinct. They just nailed it. The few features that are there.
I'm
And it's a
thinking
very
B
alluring.
though.
I think
It
that's reasonable.
it's
It
really
doesn't.
solid, but I do think it and Lore Bard are essentially two sides of the proverbial bard coin.
I guess.
I
I think it is a very alluring class identity of this idea of bard that is in there and telling stories of greatness
yeah, it's great.
of heroes. It's a very
And Lore Bard
alluring
is
thing you can
learning stories
do
of
a
great.
lot with. Like, it just, at a glance, it seems like there's not a lot going on, but I feel like that is, the more you know about the game, you can just do a lot with the class. That does open you up to a lot of cool builds and
Yeah.
fun
Well,
lore.
originally when I saw this, I was like, Swords is just better than Valor. Swords gets a fighting style. They can use their
Yeah,
inspiration on themselves. They're way better martials. But the more I have learned about like how
yeah.
both of them works, I feel like Valor is better than Swords are. All
I'll
right,
accept B, though. Alright.
put it here.
Whis Whisperinos.
Yeah, Whispers Bard.
Most folk are happy to welcome a bard into their midst. Bards of the College of Whispers use this to their advantage. They appear to be like other bards, sharing news, singing songs, and telling tales to the audience they gather. In truth, College of Whispers teaches their students that they are wolves among sheep. These bards use their knowledge and magic to uncover secrets and turn them against others through extortion and threats. Many other bards hate College of Whispers, viewing it as a parasite that uses a bard's reputation to acquire wealth and power. For this reason, members of this college rarely reveal their true nature. They typically claim to follow some other college and keep their actual calling secret in order to infiltrate and exploit royal courts and other settings of power.
Yeah, so this is the cool Bard TM. Uh,
Yeah, this is the bait subclass.
it's kind of bait. It's not unbuildable. You can build Bard that uses the Psychic Blades and isn't bad. But I
But
will say
They're
if you
just worse
if
than
you
just playing a rogue.
yeah, if you don't know how to specifically build that type of character, which honestly usually involves multi-classing into like a rogue or a fighter anyways, um then you will probably find that just using your features as written in the bard subclass is not very good.
It's just you can circumvent. The good part about Whisper is you can take all of your things that are supporty for your allies. Thing power Bard has a lot of power that they give to their allies. They can take that and instead of giving it to their allies, they can use it for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's pretty decent. It does make them stronger on their own. They are a bard that is self-sufficient without allies. But in context, they're just it's from what I can tell, they just seem to be worse than a bard supporting their allies. And if you wanted to be something that didn't support their allies, you should just play bard.
I
Because
mean,
it seems weak. You just lose a lot of.
yeah, I mean, I agree that it's a little weak, but it isn't that bad. Like the Psychic Blades feature is kind of just bad sneak attack.
With uses.
Which is why you should probably have sneak attack when you play it.
You can stack it into a really scary, like, single shot.
And then, like, Mantle of Whispers is really cool, like, thematically. It's not super strong mechanically, but it's pretty... It is a very neat, flavorful thing that you get, and also something that pairs really well with Rogue. Just saying, like an Arcane Trickster. And then, you're level 14 feet. Yeah.
It's just in order to get like Mantle of Whispers to work with Rogue and stuff, like you have to be pretty high level for it to like matter. And then at that point, I feel like you're not really competitive with other players at your level anyway. And you probably would just be more interesting and a better fulfilling your thematic by just playing something else.
I do think the big issue that Whispers bards face is that glamour bards exist. And a lot of the things that they do, while thematically quite different, are mechanically kind of just worse than glamour bards. Which
Yeah, if
kind
you
of
want to
puts
play
them
like
in a
an
weird
evil
position.
glamour bard can sort of control people and sort of get that same lore.
Yeah. And I mean, there's Whispers bards are cool and they're neat, like, you know, characters to make, I think. But why you wouldn't, like, to play a Whispers bard to 20, I don't know. To play like a Whispers bard to 6 and then like pick up Arcane Trickster 3 levels, like, I think is a pretty cool, good character. So you should do that. But as just a bard, just play a Glamour bard if you want to play this class, I think.
I played a little fun with that I want to play on a little like one shot like thing with you. And it just using the Whispers thing, you were like, oh, it's great, I've got this cool Psychic Blades thing. And then you use it, and then you're like, well, I only have like 3 Bardic Inspirations to use this on. And I get the mech in a long rest until I'm level 5.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty unusable pre-level 5, I think.
Especially when you take into account that you use your action to make a weapon attack, of which presumably Charisma is going to be your highest stat still, not Dex or Strength. So you're making a weapon attack, and as an action instead
Yeah.
of casting a spell, and then using your bonus action to do this extra damage. Which, to be fair, the bonus damage is worth, I mean, the bonus action, but the action is not really worth using an attack, especially when you get like 3 bardics, and you could have been a Valor bard and just used your bonus action to give the damage to your teammates, and you could have just used your action
Yeah.
on something else.
The psionic rogue, uh, like a shadow sorcerer. I feel like there's just so many ways this fantasy that this just isn't a very good way to do it.
Yeah. To be fair, once again, take 6 levels of this, 3 levels of like Soul Knife. Pretty neat. Pretty cool character. You will probably have a lot of fun if you like being a little edgelord.
Yeah, you probably would have had more fun with 9 levels of Olmire.
Yeah, but if your thought is that you like bards and you want to play a bard, I don't think this is a very good bard. If your thought is that you want to play a rogue and you want to take some
And
bard levels, it's pretty okay.
then just consider it and instead just take the rogue level.
It's not bad. Admittedly, you are using this instead of your cunning action and such, but
9th level Soul Knife's pretty good.
it is.
You get to like teleport and stuff.
It is
It's
pretty
cool.
good. But, you know, some people just want some extra spells and some bard stuff, and I can understand
Play an arcane trickster.
that. You know that's a false equivalency. Arcane tricksters get 1 spell slot.
9th level arcane tricksters don't. They get like 2.
Yeah. Either way.
D tier.
C tier?
I said D.
It's not a D tier class.
Uh,
It's worse than Glamour Bard, but it's good enough.
Better than Eloquence.
What?
But
This isn't better than Eloquence.
I'm in my I put Eloquence F.
Okay, yeah. Look, Eloquence is lame, but it is like mechanically just the I win the game character.
It's slightly better than Eloquence. So it's a D, and in my universe, Whispers is in D and Eloquence is an F.
No, okay. I do think overall though, the like power level of bard subclasses are actually pretty close.
Yeah.
Like you can kind of cheese the game with creation and elegant. Eloquence basically is just printed as pick me if you want to win, but like other than that, I think everything in the B and C tier are relatively close in power and pretty good. So I don't know. Bards are neat. If you had to rate the bard class as a whole, where would you put it?
Bard class? Where would I put it? What, in reference to all the other classes, or like
Yeah.
what tier?
In regards to every other class.
Then I'd have to think about every other class. It's pretty good. I like bards. They're a fun idea. I tend to like the idea of bards more than playing a bard.
Hmm.
Cause I like playing like that smooth talker, like face of the party.
Sorcerer, yeah, understand.
Yeah.
You like meta magic.
But I like sorcerer more. Bards just feel a little. I like being a support, but I find myself often like I'd rather play a cleric or a sorcerer.
Hmm.
And they're sort of in the middle, but they don't quite do exactly what I want. They're not as good as, they don't support as in ways that I want as much as clerics do, and they don't. Their magic doesn't feel as impactful because their spell list isn't as exciting and their cantrips aren't as exciting. as sorcerer.
Yeah, it's mostly control spells.
Yeah. So
So what, you thinking like a B tier? B for bard?
B for bard. Yeah, maybe B for bard. Maybe C for bard.
Okay,
I
understandable.
like the idea of them. There's some fun to build, but
Yeah. I mean,
I
I
like
I like a bard.
bards. But me playing, I'd probably put bard in C. I'm always happy to have them, but they're not as much my style.
Gotcha. All right, well, that's it. Aside from Tragedy Bard, of which we already said we're not doing the critical role classes, so. Also, if I did rate it, it's probably the worst Bard subclass.
That one is a cool idea that I don't think quite
Yeah.
makes it, but it's a really cool idea.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us. See you guys next time for Clerics. Dun dun
Oh
dun.
my god. Ah! Ah!